Hey, boys and girls, we're going to do our comprehension lesson for today. So let's go ahead and begin. You need to have your reading notebook and a pencil. So if you need to go get your reading or your supplies, go ahead and go do that now. You can pause the video. And if you're ready, you can press play when you have those materials. So you need your reading notebook and pencil, and you need to open your reading notebook to your next clean page, and you need to write today's date at the top, 9-23-20. You may pause the video at this time in order to write your date at the top of your next clean page. You can press play when you are ready to continue. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about schema. And you might be thinking, Miss Sweeney, what is your schema? Our schema is like our mental file cabinet. It's all the information that we hold in our brain. It is made up of the places we have been, the books we have read, the people in our lives, and much more. So here's what I want you to do. For the next 3 minutes in your reading notebook, I want you to write as many places you've been, people you know, or books you've read, or anything else that your brain is holding in. Okay? I want you to stop the video at this time, and I want you to give yourself 3 minutes to do exactly that. Write the people, places, and books or things in your brain that you know all about. When you're done, come back and press play. Now, when Miss Sweeney was thinking about her schema, the places that I've been to Disney World, I've been to the beach, I've been to the mountains, I've been to New York City. There's so many places that I've been, and all of those trips have allowed me to have so many memories. People I know my mom, my dad. I remember my grandparents, even though they're not here anymore. I have my children. I have my brother and my sister. I have cousins and aunts and friends. So I know so many people that have made lasting impressions on me. And then books I've read. I read a lot. I read the books that you guys read. So recently that's been Wilfrid Gordon, McDonald Partridge. We Don't Eat Our Classmates. I read my Bible. I've read many books that you'll maybe read as you get older, chapter books. I love reading the Magic Treehouse books series with my little girl. So all of those things make up our schema and all of the things that we hold in our brain that help us to make new learning and connect what we already know. Now, what we're going to do next is we are going to stop, put our pencils and our notebooks to the side, and we are going to read Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge.
Screen Actors Guild Foundation Book Pals. Have you ever had something happen in your life that was so fantastic that you want to remember it forever? Have you ever collected shells from a trip to the beach to remember a special summer day? What if you couldn't remember? We're going to read a book that's all about remembering memories. It's titled Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge, and it was written by Mem Fox and illustrated by Julie Vivas. There once was a small boy called Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge, and what's more, he wasn't very old either. His house was next door to an old people's home, and he knew all the people who lived there. He liked Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. He listened to Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. He played with Mr. Tippett, who was crazy about cricket. He ran errands for Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. He admired Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. But his favorite person of all was Miss Nancy Allison Delacourt Cooper, because she had 4 names, just as he did. He called her Miss Nancy and told her all his secrets. One day, Wilfrid Gordon heard his mother and father talking about Miss Nancy. "Poor old thing," said his mother. "Why is she a poor old thing?" asked Wilfrid Gordon. "Because she's lost her memory," said his father. "It isn't so surprising, said his mother. After all, she is 96. What's a memory? Asked Wilfrid Gordon. He was always asking questions. It is something you remember, said his father. But Wilfrid Gordon wanted to know more. So he called on Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. What's a memory? He asked. Something warm, my child. Something warm. He called on Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. What's a memory? He asked. Something from long ago, my lad. Something from long ago. He called on Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. What's a memory? He asked. Something that makes you cry, my boy. Something that makes you cry. He called on Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. What's a memory? He asked. Something that makes you laugh, my darling. Something that makes you laugh. He called on Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. What's a memory? He said. Something as precious as gold, young man. Something as precious as gold. So Wilfrid Gordon went home again to look for memories for Miss Nancy, because she had lost her own. He looked for the shoebox of shells he had found long ago last summer and put them gently in a basket. He found the puppet on strings, which always made everyone laugh, and he put that in the basket too. He remembered with sadness the medal which his grandfather had given him, and he placed it gently next to the shells. Next he found his football, which was precious as gold. And last of all, on his way to Miss Nancy's, he went into the hen house and took a fresh, warm egg from under a hen. Then Wilfrid Gordon called on Miss Nancy and gave her each thing, one by one. What a strange, dear child to bring all these wonderful things, thought Miss Nancy. Then she started to remember. She held the warm egg and told Wilfrid Gordon about the tiny speckled blue eggs she had once found in a bird's nest in her aunt's garden. She put a shell to her ear and remembered going to the beach by tram long ago and how hot she had felt in her button-up boots. She touched the metal and talked sadly of the big brother she had loved, who had gone to war and never returned. She smiled at the puppet on strings and remembered the one she had shown her sister and how she had laughed with a mouth full of porridge. She bounced the football to Wilfrid Gordon and remembered the day she had met him and all the secrets they had told. And the two of them smiled and smiled because Miss Nancy's memory had been found again by a small boy who wasn't very old either. I think I'm going to remember that book for a long time.
Okay, so now that we have had another good reading of our story, Wilfrid Gordon, McDonald Partridge, we're going to go ahead now and get started with talking about our comprehension skill, making inferences. Now, when we are making inferences, we're trying to figure out things that the author does not directly say. This is sometimes called reading between the lines. The author an illustrator will give us clues to help us make inferences, but we also have to use our schema. So that's things that we already know about. So that's kind of why we talked about schema earlier. So let's go ahead and do some practice. So I want you to open up back to your notebook where you were at on 9-23-20, and I want us to answer this question together. Now, you are going to watch Miss Sweeney answer this, but you're going to be listening and watching and kind of thinking about it too. You don't have to write anything just yet. If you need to pause the video to get your notebook, you can. I'm going to keep going, so if you're ready, you can keep going or come back and press play. It says, how did Miss Nancy feel about Wilfrid? So good readers always go back to their text to find their answers and to think about what their answers could be. So I'm going to read really quickly this passage from the text. But his favorite person of all was Miss Nancy Allison Delacourt Cooper, because she had 4 names just as he did. He called her Miss Nancy and told her all his secrets. And then here is a picture that goes with this page. So the question is, how does Miss Nancy feel about Wilfrid? So when we get to this, we can use this part of the text to help us answer that part of the question, okay? Now, we know that Wilfrid loves Miss Nancy. And we know that it looks like Miss Nancy probably feels the same way about Wilfrid, because look at how she's laying back in the chair and looking at him playing. And then she listens to all of his secrets. So we know that Miss Nancy enjoys being friends with Wilfrid. Now, did the book say that? No. But what we did is we looked at the text and the picture clues, and we used our schema to determine that if Wilfrid loved Miss Nancy this much and that they had some things in common and he felt comfortable to tell her all his secrets, then she must enjoy being his friend. Because if you were around somebody that much and you listened to all their secrets and you watched them while they were playing, then you would feel like they were your friend. All right. So we used our schema and the clues from the text to answer this question. We made an inference. Now let's look at the next question. This time, I want you to help write down your answer with Miss Sweeney. So the question is, why is Wilfrid collecting all of these things? So he's got all these things in a basket. He's got shells, he's got a badge. Why is he collecting all of these things? So let's go back to the text and reread to find out. One day, Wilfrid Gordon heard his mother and father talking about Miss Nancy. Poor old thing, said his mother. Why is she a poor old thing? Asked Wilfrid Gordon. Because she's lost her memory, said his father. It isn't surprising, said his mother. After all, she is 96. What's a memory? Asked Wilfrid Gordon. He was always asking questions. It's something you remember, said his father. So Wilfrid Gordon went home again to look for memories for Miss Nancy because she had lost her own. So, boys and girls, why do we think, based on what the text says and the picture clues, why is Wilfrid collecting all of these things? Now, based on what I know, Miss Nancy has lost her memory. So Wilfrid is going to help her remember. Go down to the next slide. All right. So looking here, we can see Miss Nancy has lost her memory according to the text. And then Wilfrid is going to help look for her memories. Now we know that he can't really find her memories because these are things that you keep in your head. But he is going to use these things that he's collecting to help her remember her memories. So I want you to write this down as your answer. Miss Nancy has lost her memory, comma, so Wilfrid is going to help her remember. If you need to pause the video at this time, you can. But Miss Sweeney's going to go to the next question. If you're ready to go to the next question, you're going to continue, but if not, you can pause and then press play when you're ready. Now, I want you to answer this question on your own. So, it says, how did Miss Nancy feel about the beach? What I want you to do is I want you to come back over here and I want you to read the text and use the text clues and the picture to help you answer this question. You can pause the video at this time and answer it, and when you're done, I want you to come back and see what Miss Sweeney has written. Okay, so when I read, it says she put a shell to her ear and remembered going to the beach by tram long ago and how hot she had felt in her button-up boots. So how does Miss Nancy feel about the beach? Miss Nancy probably enjoyed getting to touch the sand. That's just what I put. Now, you could maybe have even put that Miss Nancy might not have enjoyed going to the beach because she had to go by a tram, which is kind of like a train subway, and that she was really hot. So you could have put that she may not have enjoyed it. Now, I put she probably enjoyed getting to touch the sand because she has her boots off. She took her boots off because she got hot and she put her feet in the sand. And I thought she probably liked that. Now, you could have had a couple other answers for that one. Okay, now you're going to answer one more question on your own. I want you to read this question. Why is Miss Nancy sad about her brother? I want you to use the text and the picture to answer this question on your own in your reading notebook. So go ahead and do that at this time. When you're done, I want you to come back and I want you to check. Okay? Why is Miss Nancy sad about her brother? The text says she touched the metal and talked sadly of the big brother she had loved, who had gone to the war and never returned. So, the picture shows them all waving, and it looks like he's leaving. So why is Miss Nancy sad about her brother? Miss Nancy is sad because she lost her brother in war. Okay? Because it says that he went to war and he never returned. So she's sad because she's lost him. Okay? So you can check your work and see how you did when you're looking at this answer. Now, we're going to talk about two more things today. We're going to talk about some prefixes and a suffix. Prefix and a suffix. First, we're going to talk about the prefix dis. Now, a prefix is a word part that goes in front of an entire word. So the prefix here, dis, would go in front of a word, and it means not. So some examples would be disappeared, not appearing, or missing. Displease, not happy, or disobey means not obeying or not doing what you were told to do. So when we put dis in front of these words, it changes the meaning of the word to mean not whatever the word means. Okay? Now, let's look at the suffix ed. A suffix is a word part that goes at the end of a word. It means something's already happened when you see it on the end of a word. Some examples: followed. The ed on the back of follow means that you went behind somebody. Okay? You've already followed them. You have already gone behind them. Explained. The ed on explain means you've already told somebody something, like I've already explained the directions to you. It's already happened. I've already told you what to do. So I wanted to go over those two things with you with today's activity. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and come to an end, and you may go ahead and go on to your assignment for today. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.